We have the pleasure to welcome on the main stage of Webit Impact Forum some of the most impactful startups in the HealthTech and Biotech startup vertical. Moderated by Afua Hagan, who has decades of experience as a broadcaster and journalist at global media such as CNBC, BBC, ITV, CNN. And last but not least, with the special support of the collective intelligence of the International Investors Jury.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wasn't expecting the fireworks, but what a welcome. Welcome to the Founders Games of the Webit Summer Impact Forum. My name is Afua Hagan, and I'm going to be moderating this panel. Okay, so this is the Founders Games. And let me tell you a bit about the Founders Games. Now, it's a startup competition which gathers founders from all corners of the globe to showcase and, of course, present their innovative ideas to a curated group of investors, hoping to win their hearts, their minds, and, of course, more importantly, their pockets. Now, the competition has become an investment platform for matchmaking hand-picked early-stage startups and venture-round scale-ups with investors, corporates, and of course, the media. Now, it all started 15 years ago when Webit joined the ecosystem and was amongst the first to start connecting the startup and enterprise worlds together. So let me remind you of the rules of the Founders Games. Each startup has 3 minutes to present their company with a video that they've prepared beforehand. Once finished, the floor will be open for a 7-minute Q&A with the jury. Now, the jury has a very important but also very difficult task to provide their evaluation and, of course, any questions that will help their decision-making process and fill in their evaluation with points from 1 to 10 to the startups in regard to these 6 milestones that they have to cover. These are the impact factor, the uniqueness of the idea, the team capacity, the business model, scalability and market adoption, and financial sustainability. So we will wrap up the Webit Global Impact Forum later on with the Founders Games Awards ceremony, which starts around 6:40, and that's when the finalists for the $6 million award will be announced. Now, you can find us and share your thoughts on social media at Webit, and of course, use the hashtag Webit as well. So, with no further ado, let's open the 2022 Founders Games. A big welcome to the investors' jury members that the presenting startups will both have to impress in person and online. I hope that's not more fireworks. Thank you for your participation and evaluation. We really appreciate your hard work. So the first startup session that we're going to be doing on the main stage is HealthTech and Biotech, with startups from health, biotech, pharma, and the medtech sectors. So let's begin with the first startup to present, and that is GlucoActive. Now, they were founded in 2019, coming from Poland. Please welcome on stage Dariusz Gajacek, who's going to present from GlucoActive. Let's give him a big round of applause, because Dariusz, the stage is yours. Now, Dariusz, just to remind you, you have 3 minutes, and then you present with the jury.
Hello, my name is Dariusz Gajewicz, and I will tell you about one of the world's biggest problems. According to WHO, 10%, even 10% of global population is affected by diabetes. Next 20% is affected by diabetes without even knowing it. That leads to almost 4 million deaths yearly. 2 main reasons behind it: it's pain related to every measurement and fear of diagnostics, which lead to poor quality of life and premature deaths. In GlucoActive, We make diabetes easier to handle by replacing needles with light. Basically, we're analyzing the light which reflects from glucose molecules inside your body, and thanks to this, we can calculate the glucose concentration. Our device, stationary device, is intended for home and professional use and requires one-time calibration for now. It will cost around $1,000 or $70 in subscription model. We've already submitted 2 PCT patents, global procedure, but more is coming. But what's more important, we've conducted initial clinical experiment which proved that the technology is working and it's safe for patients. The relative mean error is around 20%, but we are working to improve it. In comparison to the existing solutions, our technology is completely painless, cost-effective, and eco-friendly. It doesn't generate any medical wastes. In comparison to our competition, still in R&D process, we are the most cost-effective one and the most advanced in progress. Until the end of this year, we plan to finish our device so we could start medical certification at the beginning of next year and launch sales in the second half of next year. Speaking about sales, we are based on B2B2C model, so by licensing the technology to commercialization partners. So we could focus on further development instead of marketing and B2C sales. To reach our goals, we plan to raise $2 million of investment. All of this happened thanks to extraordinary team of 25 specialists in the field of spectrophotometry, electronics, data science, medicine, chemistry, and business development. Let me wish you healthy sugar levels and thank you for your attention.
Thank you for that, Darius. Really interesting presentation. Now I'm going to open the floor to the jury for their Q&A. Who would like to go first from the jury? Now, please remember to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I can start if you want. So thank you very much for the presentation. Well done. I would have 2 questions for a start. The first would be around the competitors that you mentioned. Maybe you can just elaborate the competitors' landscape you looked at. So did you look at Poland, Europe, worldwide? Maybe you can elaborate on that. And the second part is on your conversation partners. What type of partners would you have in mind there?
Okay. I will start with the second question. I have in mind partners which are already selling glucometers, but the invasive ones. They already have the customer base and they are aware about the market of glucometers. And they have the trust of the customers. Mm-hmm. So we want to give them another product into their portfolio. And the first question, you mean about to elaborate about the competition, yes?
Yeah, just elaborate a little bit more. Maybe you can name also 1 or 2, okay, but also elaborate on where did you have your focus in Europe or worldwide?
Okay, our biggest competitor, I would say it's Diamondtech from Germany. However, we have different technology. We are aware of their technology. I think it's not worse, it's as good as ours, but it's really expensive. We know that our technology is much cheaper, so it will be easier to for commercialization and more affordable. The same about competitors from different places like RSP Systems. They are similar to us, but they are a really big company and they are a bit earlier in the progress. So right now we are ahead of them. Okay. I don't know if this answers your question of if you need more.
No, it was helpful, thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else from the jury have a question?
Hi, Darius. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Cool. Thank you for the presentation. It was very good. Yeah, obviously diabetes affects like millions of people. So I was just wondering, is this is the market for this big enough to sustain sort of a large independent company, or is this the sort of product that would end up being bought by a sort of a larger pre-existing public company in the space? So I just wonder your sort of level of ambition for the company in the longer term.
Sorry, could you repeat?
So is the market for this?
How big is the market?
How big is the market?
Could it sustain a large independent company, or would it potentially be something that would be acquired once you get FDA approval or once you get through the sort of regulatory hurdles?
The global market is worth around 40 billions, if I remember correctly. And sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So he asked, is the market big enough to sustain a small company, or are you going to get sales from pre-existing customers, or a combination of both?
I think it's related to our business model, because as a small company, we will give our products a license to our technology to the bigger players, which would be able to sell enough products to fill the market. And even if there would be another company, it's a new market because such solution doesn't exist yet. So there's enough space for different players, bigger and smaller. And each of the bigger players, even not related to medicine, to pharma, like Samsung or Apple, are looking for such device. So they won't use the same technology, the same product from one company, probably. So each of the bigger players probably would have their own supplier.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any more questions from the jury?
I do have a question. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to have a little bit of clarity around your roadmap, go-to-market, basically. How far are you from reaching the market? Because I guess you have already started with some preliminary trials, and how long do you foresee for the relevant certification and so on?
Okay. As I mentioned, we conducted initial trials. It was something like a beginning of it. Right now, we have prepared part of the documentation for the certification for MDR for Europe and in the future for FDA. So when the device will be ready and fully developed, we will just need to update our documentation and then run tests in different clinics around the world. We already have, we are already negotiating with different clinics, and it will be prepared for the moment that we'll have a product. So instead of several years, it will take around half a year, also because our product is non-invasive, so it's category 2B, if I'm correct. So it's easier and simpler to obtain the certification.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, jury, we have about a minute left if anybody has any more questions. If not, we'll move on to the next startup. Okay.
Maybe just one last question, if you don't mind. Maybe you can elaborate in one or two sentences on the uniqueness of your product. So where do you see the chance that like one large company develops it themselves? So what is covered by the patent, and will there be any risk from larger companies developing such a device?
They are trying, but still, even they are trying for several years, more than we, they didn't reach the market yet. And what's our uniqueness? I would say that many companies try to do it not directly. We are measuring directly the blood in glucose, not like different body reactions, like temperature change or color change and so on. We are not predicting, we are measuring.
I'm afraid your time is up. Darius, thank you so much. It was a great presentation. Yeah, give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
And thank you to our jury there as well. Right, it's time for our next startup. This is LAIFE. They were founded in 2020. They're coming from Germany. So please welcome on the stage Billy Mello presenting from LAIFE.
Hi, I'm Billy Mello, co-founder of LAIFE, a Berlin-based startup, and I'd like to start talking about music, because we listen to music all the time. When we're happy, sad, alone, together with friends in the shower, doing exercises, music is a powerful mood enhancer for everybody. But how can we enhance the well-being of people with music? Well, when we add a layer of science and data under it, we can help people achieve their life balance and reduce mental health issues. We know that 33% of the world population suffer from some kind of mental health issues. The COVID situation only made things worse, and the medication intake skyrocketed during these times. And that's where comes LAIFE. LAIFE is an artificial intelligence sound engine that creates original and personalized sounds to help people achieve their life balance and reduce mental health issues. And it works in 3 steps. First, we rely heavily on science and medicine. Studies from universities all over the world says that music helps people relieve mental and physical problems. And we are conducting partner researches also together with Erasmus University in the Netherlands and Consorcio Sanitario de Terrassa from Spain. Second, we collect data from users through mobiles and wearables, and then we feed this data into a machine learning system so it delivers sounds, frequencies, and brainwave entrainment people need for the moment. And what are the revenue streams from this? Well, we have our B2B model as a white label SaaS, where we partner with the companies and generate the music based on their own apps. Like, for example, as we're going to start in the business plan, going to the sleep and wellness market as a starter, sleep, anxiety, migraine, stress, depression, employee well-being. Then we're going to go into sports and fitness, and finally, we're going to get into the healthcare sector. We already have a go-to-market strategy between development, iteration, sales, and pre-sales. We can start having revenue from the first quarter of investments. And one important thing is the scalability. Since we use the same core engine, acquiring data and providing music for all clients, so the more clients we have, the more users we have, the less cost per client we can achieve with this core engine. We are here some examples of what we are doing. On the sleep and wellness market, Ionut Technologies from Switzerland, Vodafone Portugal, Arçelik from Turkey, and Samsung. On the sports and fitness, we're starting to do pilots with Under Armour, Hyperice, and Lululemon from the US, Estef Secon from Germany, and Mindset Design, which is a company here from Sofia, Bulgaria. And in the healthcare, as I mentioned before, Consorcio Sanitario de Terrassa and Erasmus University. We are 3 co-founders with vast expertise in each one of our realms, and we also count with a board of advisors from wearables and sports tech specialists to doctors and medical and business advisors all over the world. So we invite you to partner with us in this world health revolution with the best solution for good health and well-being in this innovative, low-cost and high-impact solution to reduce medication intake and help people achieve life balance. Thank you very much. Simple. Yeah?
Thank you very much, Billy, right on the bell there. Great presentation. So we'll open the floor to the jury for their Q&A. Jury, hit me with your questions. Who'd like to go first?
Got a question if no one else is...
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for the presentation, Billy. I was just wondering, so with the business model, I think you said that you want to go B2B, and initially the initial market is sort of health and wellness. So is that, am I right in thinking these sort of apps like Calm and Headspace, like how are you planning to integrate with existing apps that have large user bases? And how close are you to signing an actual deal? Like, do you have letter of intent, or have you had these conversations? Have you figured out what the actual share of revenue and how that could work, or where are you in that process?
Yeah, well, we started in B2B because of costs and also to gather the most data we can collect based on the partners we can have. Like, for example, employee well-being with Vodafone Portugal. We can collect lots of data about stress in business, in offices, anxiety and insomnia. And also, yeah, this is the first step. Then we go into sports and fitness, which we also can collect different types of data, but also still in B2B. But in the end, our solution is intended to be B2C. But in the future, where we have more data, where we can collect more data and make things flow easier and make things work better, basically.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a question on the jury?
Yes, just maybe to expand on that. You say that your competitors are apps like Calms and so on, but you say that you have a stronger input data. So that's your added value on the scientific background, medical background. Could you just elaborate a little bit more on that, on your value actually compared to that?
Yeah, if you go to YouTube and type relax music, there's going to be like 10,000 videos there, but they don't have what we want to have, and that's what we are actually going for as we're developing the app now. They don't have the scientific and the medical validity, so to say. So with this, we can prove that yes, our music works to take people from stress into a happier mood, to make people sleep faster or sleep deeper. So we do this research, which is the most important thing for us, is having this scientific and medical background. We don't do music because, oh, it sounds good for people to sleep. Okay, this one is for sleep, or this one is for running, whatever. But we do this because we want to have the scientific and medical background and prove that our solution works with this data, with this layer of science, and with this adaptability for each one of the individuals and users that uses the solution. That's our main differentiator, our difference, so to say.
Just maybe adding on this point, another question. So can you just elaborate how do you do this scientific and medical proof? So do you like testing people sleeping? So you test the sleep quality with your music? So just in practice, how do you do this?
Yeah.
This medical and scientific proof?
With Ionut Technologies from Switzerland, they have this EEG capturing headphones. And they're focusing totally on sleep nowadays. And we started providing them with pre-sleep music, so they can understand how the brain works as they are listening to our music. And the results are quite visually compelling, because we see the brain waves going down and reaching the deep state sleep, which is the beginning of our sleep. In terms of Erasmus University, we are generating music for them to change the valence and arousal of people. And there are 70 subjects there that's going to have not only a self-assessed mannequin, but also an app that gets the face of the person and understand the emotion, and also saliva markers to assess the results of what we are providing for them. And Consórcio Sanitário de Terraças is for the post-COVID insomnia treatment, something I didn't know existed, but people with long COVID, they suffer from insomnia, and there's a huge problem there in Barcelona, and we are doing what we're doing with Ionut, but proving scientifically that yes, our solution will work for the people that are suffering from insomnia based on the long COVID. So we have to have this. We do this as part of a research and with papers and so on that goes on to make the music work and prove that we have results.
Okay, jury, we've got under a minute, so if you have another question. No? I think the jury are all good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very
Give
much,
them a round of
guys. Thank
applause.
you.
So the next company is Synctuition, founded in 2016 and coming from Estonia. Please welcome to the stage Michael Burek, presenting for Synctuition.
One, two. Perfect. My name is Michael Burek, and I'm the co-founder of Synctuition. 100 years ago, only 5% of the people brushed their teeth, which is very low compared to the staggering amount, which is 90% today. Why? 2 words: awareness and product. We're exactly at the same stage today, with people working on their mind. It might be only 5% today, but we see that with the advanced technologies that are coming out and the innovations, In no time, we'll reach 90%, making it a daily activity. How? Once again, awareness and product. We broke the code. We worked on our app for over 10 years. We had 1,500 people involved in creating it, from scientists to neuroscientists, psychologists, musicians, music engineers, a huge team creating something very, very big. But don't take my word for it. Take the markets. In just 3 short years since we've been out in the market, our award-winning app has already generated over $20 million in revenue. We've streamed more than 100 million minutes of content in over 200 countries, and we have over 140 million views on YouTube. Like music that has a certain formula which makes hit records, we found that formula for mental health. Now, while we have a beautiful app, the real crown jewel is the content. We recorded sounds of nature in over 3,000 natural locations, basically creating the world's largest sound bank of 3D sound. We layered it with some science and technology to create a true masterpiece of an audio product that we sell as a subscription service. But while we can grow organically with just increasing our customer acquisition spend and acquiring new users, we have a bigger picture. So what's next? We shot a movie, a blockbuster movie on mental health together with a Hollywood studio. We will release it this year in October. It will be the first film in the world to be seen completely in 3D binaural sound, and it will raise the level of awareness of mental health to an unseen level. We can't wait to share it with you. Second, we created a physical product, a mind spa booth that is going to companies and is going to public places where people can enjoy listening to the mindfulness content in a physical environment. We just partnered up with Andrea Bocelli. There's over 230 million blind people in the world, and a lot of them love our app. He's going to become a global ambassador. We're using his vocals, and we're creating a headphone set together with Bocelli. And currently, we're going through a process of accreditation with the NHS that could see us becoming a real drug that's prescribed to people instead of sleeping pills. Once again, we may become a drug that can be prescribed instead of sleeping medications. Now, we come from Estonia, the country with the highest unicorns per capita in the world. So it's in our tradition. I just came to the thank you slide.
But his time is up. There we go.
Sure.
Now we have to open it up to the jury. Jury, do we have any questions for Michael?
Thank you, Michael. I'll go. Maybe you can right away expand on this trailing news about your collaboration with NHS and how that could basically pave the road for you to become the new standard if everything goes well. So can you just enlighten us a little bit more?
Absolutely, with pleasure. So we got fast-tracked with the NHS because in the UK, they figured out that putting people on sleep medication is addictive, it's very expensive, and they're looking to find digital solutions that could help people with early-stage anxiety without going through that process. So they have seen what we've done in the consumer market, and they were very interested for us to go through clinical trials in the UK to test how this app can help early-stage people with anxiety so they can save the government money and not get them addicted to medications. We're going through this process now. We should get the accreditation by the end of the year already, which would qualify us to be certified as a prescription drug, not only in the UK, but also in Commonwealth countries. So we're talking about India, we're talking about Australia, we're talking about the Middle East, and much more. So we're very, very excited to see that process to the end.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions from the jury?
Yeah, maybe one other question also following up on that one. So how, in terms of business model, so you were saying that after the NHS process, you could be described in the Commonwealth countries. So how in general is your business model? So would you be sold only based on subscription or prescription, or how would it go going forward?
Well, our main business is really a consumer app, so we still sell ourselves as a subscription. The NHS would be something that is an added bonus, meaning the government would actually cover 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, however much the person would need to get through the depression and anxiety. So it will be just an added layer of subscription services to us, which is just sold directly to the government. But with all the plans that we have, and you know, I had the music in the beginning. I didn't get to introduce some of the latest partners that just joined us, which is the ex-CEO of Credit Suisse and Prudential. We have very big plans on growing in the consumer space still. So we have the movie coming out, we have headphones coming out, we have the Mind Spa booths. The NHS adds credibility, an ability to sell directly to the government, long-term contracts, but we're not planning for this to overtake the big consumer and B2B plan that we have.
Okay, and what would be the price for the subscription?
So
the last one.
It's something that we can negotiate with the government after the approval is received, but we see it.
I mean on the private side for the consumers.
The consumer pay $95.99 per year, and most of our subscribers are in the annual plan. So we have over 90% of the people paying a year in advance. So obviously with the government it will be a little bit less, but it will be a stable and big volume business.
Okay.
Is there time for one last quick
Yes,
question?
definitely.
Thanks, Michael. I really like great energy. It's also great to see so many companies tackling some of these like massive issues as well around mental health. So well done for that. It sounds like you've got some great partnerships and you're doing some good work with the NHS, which I'm glad to hear as a Brit. Still believe we're part of Europe. But the question I had is, how do you get clinical expertise into this app? I mean, you're talking about it as a drug, which is quite a serious claim. Obviously, you have drugs are regulated, and maybe it's not there yet. But how do you make sure you get the expertise from like the world's leading psychiatrists, psychologists, and there's lots of research in all of these domains around sleep and depression and anxiety. So how do you make sure the app is actually sort of clinically approved for what you're claiming to do for consumers?
So we have a partner in the UK that has done NHS accreditations before. We work together with that company. We work together with the NHS to make sure that every step of the process is respected, followed, that there's a test group, that there's a group that gets the app, a group that gets regular music, a group that gets something else. So there is a very strict guideline. We're following it together with our partners to make sure that every step is followed. And the NHS stamp of approval will simply allow us to be able to give the GPs an opportunity to prescribe the app before prescribing any other heavier medication. So we're really talking about that first line of defense.
The first line. Okay. Thank you very much. Good
My
answer.
pleasure.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions from the jury? No, I think the jury are good. Michael, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having us, and thank you to the jury for all the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, next up. Can't talk over the music. Next up, we have Medicsen. They were founded in 2015. They're coming from Spain. So please welcome to the stage Eduardo Jorgensen, presenting from Medicsen.
Eduardo Jorgensen. I'm a medical doctor and the CEO at Medicsen, where we're developing a needle-free smart patch for painless drug delivery. And we founded the company because needles are a pain in the ass, both for patients and the world. Because I saw a young girl with diabetes in my hospital consult refusing to keep injecting insulin 3 times per day, because that means over 1,000 injections per year. And also because there are 16 billion needles as a biohazard environmental waste in the world, consuming 3 billion euros in accidental injuries every year in the United States alone. So we invented a small piece of technology that can open micropores in the skin. And it works generating harmless sound waves that increase the size of the natural pores in the skin temporarily, pushing big drug molecules through and closing back again once we stop the device. And we built that piece into a wearable smart patch completely free of needles that has a durable component to last for more than 3 years, and including the electronics, and a recyclable one with the adhesive and the reservoir to last for 3 days. It can work with multiple different drugs, like insulin, heparin, antibodies. And in a typical use case, the patient refills the device with traditional drug syringes. It is placed on the arm or the abdomen, and when activated, it takes less than 1 minute to fully deliver the required amount. And it is completely safe and painless to use, which is a significant improvement from current drug delivery alternatives, because jet injectors are bulky and painful, microneedles are still invasive and disconnected, and implants are unsafe for risky drugs like insulin. So despite being a huge market growing to reach 25 billion euros by 2026, the main stakeholders are failing to address the user needs around comfort. So the future of drug delivery relies in ultrasound smart patches, because they're painless, they're wearable, and they offer a connected environment that allows telemonitoring. So far, we have protected our intellectual property, we have a working prototype validated in vitro, and we secured strategic international partnerships for future manufacturing and distribution. All thanks to our wonderful team with over 15 professionals, including member engineers coming from NASA and MIT, a healthcare team that grew up in Philips and Roche, and a business side that sold medical technology in the past. We will implement a B2C subscription model for 100 euros a month, including the monthly shipment of disposables to the patient. And we also envision structuring a B2B model by licensing the technology to different pharmaceutical stakeholders in specific treatment verticals. With this strategy, we expect to increase our users from 500 to 20,000 in the first 3 years, breaking even in 2026 after we reach 3,000 users. And right now we're focused on finishing miniaturization and animal trials by the end of the year, so we can raise a Series A of 4 million and put the device on the market as a Class 2B medical device in 2024. Thank you.
Good work. Good job. Okay, jury, do we have any questions for Eduardo from Medicsen? Jury?
Thank you, Eduardo. Very clear presentation. I have to compliment you on that. I have a question on your knowledge about, from your presentation, and the understanding is that you're going to start with the Spanish market first, then once the product is ready, you'll expand in Europe and then go into the other horizon, and that is in line with your time to market and penetration strategy. Can you tell us a little bit about if there's any reimbursement scheme you would fit into Europe? What's your knowledge about that? Just because it would be a B2C to encourage users to potentially benefit from potential reimbursement schemes. What's your knowledge about that?
Yep, thank you. So, as you said, we're planning on entering markets that we know first and then growing it up, scaling it. In terms of reimbursement, we believe that will come towards the third year of commercialization, so in between 2025 and 2026. And the main reason is that we need to produce pharmacoeconomic data that proves that our technology is saving money for the government. So yeah, we know that we can enter those schemes, such as insulin infusion pumps, but it's going to take a couple of years of trials.
Okay, thank you for that. Jury, any other questions for Eduardo?
Yeah, thank you very much also from my side. Very interesting idea and product and good presentation. Maybe, excuse me, can you just elaborate a little bit on, I remember that you were founded in 2015, so which seems like 7 years ago, so maybe you can elaborate a little bit on what were the key milestones since your foundation, yeah, to get a better feeling for that.
Yeah, thank you. That way I can tell the story of the company. So we were born in 2015, and our main goal was to create technology that could improve the daily life of patients with diabetes. And one of the cornerstones was, hey, I have to inject 1,000 times per year, so I'm not happy with that. And so we set up to create a non-invasive drug delivery device, and we started selecting laser technology. But the main problem that we encountered was that lasers were huge for this kind of requirements, so we couldn't put them in a wearable device. After 1 year of trying to research around laser, we jumped into ultrasounds, and we started from the basic science. These developments were stopped in the 80s because the ultrasound generators were too big and consumed a lot of power. And what we were able to do was reduce it to a 2-centimeter piece that is powered with a traditional battery, so you can put it in a wearable device. And that took these 65 years of first selecting the technology, going through preliminary basic science optimized trials in order to reach the optimal frequencies, intensities, moments of activation and deactivation. And once we had all that, we protected it through a patent. We have a PCT that received a very good exam. In fact, we got the exam fees back because there's nothing comparable to this. And after that, we started producing it in order to reach the animal trials stage, which is where we are right now. We have the other parts of the device already settled, like the drug delivery, microfluidics, all of that is already worked, and now what we have to do is put it together and do the trials.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Jury, any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. It was a very nice presentation. My question is about your fundraising strategy. It seems like that your main strength is in research and development. Why don't you just sell the intellectual property to a huge company? Why do you want to put this in the market?
Okay, there are several strategies in there, as you're saying. So this company was born in order to make a real change in patients. So our first attempt, our plan A, is to make it go to the market on our own and eventually transforming Medicsen into the Apple of medical devices. So we can create another type of technology or many devices for patients with chronic diseases to improve their quality of life. We are not stupid, so if we're not able to put it to the market on our own, of course, we will eventually seek partners and potentially selling the IP, but it's not our first strategy. We prefer taking it to the market on our own, and there is plenty of financing power for this kind of technology. It is a huge problem in the world. There is at least 10% of population with extreme fear for needles. That is called trypanophobia, and for example, all that 10% of the population didn't get the COVID vaccine because they just didn't want to have a needle. So there is a huge need for this technology, and we believe we can get enough funding to put it in the market on our own.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, jury, any other questions for Eduardo? No, I think they're all good. Thank you very much, jury, and thank you, Eduardo. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay, next up we have ProsFit, founded in 2014 and coming from right here in Bulgaria. Please welcome on stage Alan Hutchison and Christopher Hutchison from ProsFit.
Wow.
I'll let you go.
Okay, the stage is yours.
Do you mind if I also lean?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, do you mind resetting the clock? That was a little bit harsh. Okay. Hi, my name is Christopher Hutchison, co-founder and CTO of ProsFit, and I'm a double lower limb amputee.
My name is Alan Hutchison. I'm the co-founder and CEO. We established the company in Bulgaria in 2014. Today, there are more than 35 million amputees in the world, expected to double by 2050, mainly due to diabetes and cardiovascular disease. For an amputee, a prosthesis is critical for mobility, maintenance of health, and quality of life. Today, 70% in the world do not have access, even in developed markets. The most important part of a prosthesis is the custom-made socket, the grey bit that you see on Christopher's prosthesis. The fabrication of sockets is the biggest bottleneck in prosthetics provision, and it's only getting worse. The industry is in a critical state, and ProsFit has the answer.
We have successfully developed and industrialized the design and manufacture of affordable custom-made sockets at scale. To date, we have provided 500 prosthetics around the world, outperforming traditional first-time fit by 80%. Now, isn't it ridiculous that someone with no legs, like myself, has to travel all the way to a clinic to get access to prosthetics? Well, not anymore. ProsFit's digital-enabled solutions allow prosthetics fitting anywhere, even at home. ProsFit is an acknowledged pioneer attracting industrial partners including HP, BASF, Oracle, and the Toyota Mobility Foundation, who cooperate with us on development and global deployment.
We are today using a B2B approach, licensing our technology solution to existing prosthetic clinics. The majority of our revenue derived from the sale of reimbursable custom-made devices. Given the size of the unaddressed market, we plan to create new user-focused channels, which we will either own ourselves or we will franchise to third parties, including hospitals, rehabilitation centers, or retail chains. In Canada, together with partners, including the largest public hospital, we are building outreach to remote areas in Ontario. In Singapore, we are currently enabling a government-supported pilot for prosthetics provision at home.
Our core team is in Bulgaria with the expertise and the experience to drive the next stage of global expansion. We've been revenue generating since 2018 and have runway for 12 months. We've closed 5 capital increases to date and are currently planning Series A in H1 2023 to fund US market entry and providing the platform to build a 5% share in a global addressable market of $20 billion. Let's step forward together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan and Christopher. No, you're fine, we can share. Okay, now to the jury. Jury, do you have any questions for Alan and Christopher?
Thanks for the, can I go? Sorry, I just jumped in. Thanks for the presentation, Christopher and Alan. Yeah, and great. It's a very important problem that you're tackling, and I know some people that really struggle with this particular problem. I wanted to ask, you didn't talk, I don't think you mentioned much about the business model. So one, which market you focused on? Presumably the US would be a great market for this. Will you be able to will this be something that you can claim back on insurance? Like, just talk me through a bit about the business model and sort of projections for that. How big a business could it be in the next sort of, I don't know, in the midterm, in a 3-year period? How big a business could it be?
Yeah, thank you very much. So the business model is essentially we're providing, we currently have a B2B model. Our customers are the existing prosthetic clinics. We provide them a solution which they use to actually fit amputees as opposed to the traditional method. We basically provide that 5 times the productivity. We provide them a 25% lower what we call cost to comfort and a much higher what we call time to comfort. So essentially we're attractive to those clinics, and the products and services are mainly reimbursed, although some are covered by private insurance, and in some cases the private end user will choose to pay for it themselves. Yeah. However, when we go to the US, we are actually going to go B2C to B and actually start create new channels. So for instance, with large retail chains, you're probably aware that you have large retail chains like Walmart that are creating 4,000 clinics by 2029. To put a digital clinic like ours shop in shop, is a complete new channel. And we're also thinking about new financing models, including maybe leasing confident mobility on a monthly basis.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything else from the jury? Any more questions for Alan and Christopher from the jury?
Maybe it's something about the roadmap from, a development standpoint, because I understand that you're kind of, you have been there developing for quite some years already, and then you have gone through what the market is asking for and so on. So I guess that now you're also moving into actual home fitting and helping really people to have something that is tailored for them. What's new for the next roadmap in the coming years for you guys?
You want to take that, or? I'll let you take that to the extent that we can discuss.
Yeah, so the question was, what's new in the next 12 months?
Yeah, what's on the roadmap?
So essentially what we're doing in the next 12 months, you may or may not know that actually we work closely with the Toyota Mobility Foundation, they've become a mobility company. There's a senior guy in Toyota that keeps actually saying what Christopher said, isn't it ridiculous that somebody with no legs has to go to a clinic? We've now proved that we can do fitting at home. We just fitted about 50 amputees at home in Bulgaria, probably the biggest project of that type in the world today. What we will do now is actually develop the next stage of technologies that allows us to do the dynamic alignment of the prosthesis, the gait optimization, the falls avoidance, and falls mitigation, all in the home using what we call digital twin technologies. That's basically what we'll do on the development side. And as you saw, we're now working on the deployment side, home fitting in Singapore, remote fitting within Ontario. So we're basically proving what we call distributed care works. The patient doesn't have to come to the clinic. We can go to them with either pop-up clinics, mobile clinics, hiring a community center twice a week, whatever, but we can go to them. Because why that's important? Because even those who are fitted, probably up to 50% abandon their prosthesis because they have to come to the clinic to get them fixed, and they just give up and sit in their wheelchair. We can actually work with them in the community and avoid that abandonment as well.
Yeah. Drive significant engagement.
Sorry?
Drive significant engagement.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you for that. Anything else from the jury? No, okay. Thank you so much, jury. And thank you so much, Alan and Christopher from ProsFit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the next. We have PB&B. They were founded in 2013 and they come from Switzerland. So please welcome to the stage Anthony Aho, who's going to be presenting for PB&B. I'm not sure if Anthony is ready. Okay, we're just waiting for Anthony Aho from PB&B. Should be coming to the stage any moment now. I hope so anyway. There he is. Give him a round of applause. Stage is yours.
Okay, so PB&B, it's really the story of doctors and plastic surgeons coming together to make plastic surgery both natural and non-surgical. So just in one sentence, we've created an injection that can increase the volume of fat. And why is that interesting? Well, you see, fat is the ideal material for a plastic surgeon to remodel the face and the body, whether it be for aesthetics, to make you look more beautiful, or if you have a serious accident and need to reconstruct that area. So then the question was, what is the quickest pathway to market? And this is how we ended up focusing on facial aging. See, as the face ages, fat will lose volume, and this is what causes wrinkles and facial saggings to appear. It's typically treated with fillers like hyaluronic acid that they inject to replace the volume lost in fat. Now, it has two downsides. Here, you're not getting the best result. It is a synthetic one. You can feel this product in your face. It looks artificial, and it's shorter term. It lasts 6 to 12 months, depending on what you inject and where. And in our case, PB&B can specifically target the fat to revolumize it, to give you a much better result and a longer-term one that would last about 20 months. So here's our product. It comes in the form of a vial. The doctor simply adds water, injects it directly into the fat, and voila. You see the results instantaneously, which is also super important in this market. How does it work? Well, here we're really inspired by the human biology and how we can hijack and replicate that process to providing a completely natural result. So when we inject the product, what happens is we're just superfeeding your fat with lipids, and this is taking place over 2 months. It is your own tissue providing the result. It's a completely natural one. We're using oleic acid. This is the most prevalent type of lipid in your body. We're a team of bioengineers from the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, and we've teamed up with some of the top-tier doctors in the world, from the US to Germany, to bring this new technology to market. So to date, we've raised over 8 million. It is a patented technology. We have demonstrated safety and superiority in animals as compared to other technologies and what currently exists. And we're also ISO 13485 certified. Thank you very much, and happy to take the questions.
Thank you very much, Anthony, from PB&B. Okay, now over to the jury. Let's open it up for some questions for Anthony. Who'd like to go first?
Hi, Anthony. Thanks a lot. Thank you for the good and interesting presentation. Maybe a quick question from my side. You said that, if I understood correctly, that you have patented technology now. So maybe you can elaborate on the next steps now. So how much money do you need? What you plan to do with the money? So what's happening the next 18 to 24 months?
Yes, so the next stage, so right now we've done all the testing and optimized the product. In animals, we're getting ready to start these first tests in humans for the end of this year. We're currently raising 2 million to demonstrate safety and efficacy in 15 patients. And then we're going to need to raise another 10 to 25 million to do the big, large-scale pivotal trials to get it to market by 2025.
And what type of approvals do you need still?
Sorry?
What type of what approvals?
Approvals.
Would you need?
So this is classified as a medical device combination product. So we need to demonstrate really good safety and some efficacy. We're doing an injection into the cheek. As long as we show some good safety, and really what doctors are looking at is a very good before-after picture. Those are the main criteria we're looking at.
Okay, thank you for that question. Anything else from the jury? Any other questions for Anthony from the jury? Yeah, go ahead.
So I was wondering, first one's a simple one. What does PB&B, why is the company called PB&B? That wasn't obvious to me. And then the second is a bit more of a philosophical one. So it sounds like you're doing great so far. So you've got very interesting technology, and it seems like you've got a great team. I just wonder, I have questions around, is this a good thing for society? Like, is it purely cosmetic, or are there some medical reasons that someone might need a filler? Like, is it after burns or stuff like that? Or is it, I just wonder if, like, chasing this sort of eternal youth, is that a healthy thing for society, for men and women?
Yes, so first of all, so PB&B, it stands for Plastic, Biotech, and Bioengineering. It really acts towards plastic surgeon, which, you think of plastic, it's actually the soft tissues that you use and the fat you use to remodel the face of the body. When it comes to, let's say, the use and the demand in society for this, it's true that, let's say, 90% of the market is aesthetics, to look good and stay young. But there's also a lot of applications in reconstruction, because fat, it's really what a plastic surgeon used to provide the support. If you have a big hole, you get your face ripped out, you want to provide some tissue to that area. Fat is really the ideal material for that. So it has a ton of, let's say, different applications in the medical space, from the face to anywhere else in the body, pretty much anywhere where you have fat.
Thank you very much, Anthony.
Okay, any more questions from the jury? No? Okay, jury, thank you very much. And Anthony, thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Go ahead this way.
Yeah, okay, we can go that way. Okay, next up, we have Sensa San. They were founded in 2020. They are coming from Italy. So please welcome on stage Bernard Leon. He's presenting for Sensosan.
Hello, everyone. I can go? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bernard Leone, founder of Sensosan. Sensosan want to improve the well-being of people in experience, health safety, and mental health. So, today, the population silver age in the 2050 will increase more than population of the world, and will be double. Also, the anxiety and the depression pre-COVID, after COVID, will be increased over 100% before the pandemic situation. And so, today there is a great conscience of health safety, pollution control, and mental health about that, because we need to improve it for stay well every day. Based on this context, today we need to improve the air quality monitor, to improve the sanification system in our indoor environments, and to improve the solution for mental health, not only with the drugs, but also with a natural approach. The technology of Sensosan will be standalone or integrated in a single device, air conditioning or air exchange systems, kitchen hood, building monitor, and automotive boat or airplane. So basically, this is the device today. It is our design. You can watch it also in augmented reality if you scan the code there. And from this year will be also a benefit company. And because with our solutions, we can increase the well-being of people, the life on land, and the other kind of SDG of the UN nation. So thanks for your time, and these are my personal contacts, mail and mobile.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you for that. Great presentation. Now, let's open it up to the jury. Jury, do you have any questions for Bernard? Who'd like to go first? Anybody like to go first with questions for Bernard?
Oh, it's clear.
I'll ask if no one else is.
Thank you.
Talk too much. So I was just looking on your site while you were talking. So you have sort of fragrances and nebulizers. Is that what the actual product is?
Yes, this is the main technology.
Talk a bit. Sorry, to just finish the question. Can you just tell us a bit more about the product? And then has it been clinically validated? So have there been sort of studies to show an improvement in well-being or sort of alongside your product?
So tell us a bit about the product, and have there been any studies about the product that shows that it works?
Thank you.
So he said, tell us a bit more about the product, and then have you done any studies into the product that shows that it works?
Yes, absolutely. So our solution was deployed with 4 universities and 1 research center, and our studies for the device and for the fragrances, especially the functional fragrances, by 1 university in Rome, is a Catholic university in neurophysiology department for mental health, to improve functional fragrances, to improve the well-being about anxiety, panic, stress, and sleep in this period, but we can improve it, this solution, to other kind of problems in the future.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
Just to follow up on, it did kind of, I just wondering the level of sort of how many people have used the product. So has it been tested with like tens of people or hundreds, or how many people have actually tried it and seen the efficacy of it?
So the device go in the market in October because our business partner is a multinational company, US multinational company, have received a big bomb in their headquarters in Kharkiv to improve the device. And so now we have delayed the go-to-market in October because they need to improve the base for deployment. For the functional fragrances, we use the same approach of the drugs, the same protocols of the drugs, but we don't need the FDA, AMA, or AIFA in Italy certification about regulations. And so we can go directly in the market, and now we are in the third phase. We start in this month the trials with the human people, and we finish at the end of the year, and we go to the market in the next year with the functional fragrances.
Okay.
Thank you, Bernard.
Thank you. Any more questions from the jury? No? No. Okay, thank you, jury, and thank you, Bernard.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Over there?
That's fine.
Great.
Okay, next up we have Nanowear. Now, they were founded in 2014 and coming from the United States. We have Vinc who's presenting from Nanowear. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Hi everyone, my name is Vinc Vardhan, co-founder and CEO of Nanowear. We're a US-based FDA-cleared connected care platform, combining wearable cloth nanotechnology, software as a service, and first-of-its-kind machine learning-based diagnostics, finally bringing healthcare to where we all are, our homes. Pandemic clearly accelerated the need for virtual care solutions and at-home healthcare, but in-person consultations are still requisite because telehealth platforms mostly result in patients self-diagnosing themselves. What's missing is what happens every time you and I see our doctor in person. They touch our chest with a stethoscope, check our blood pressure, check our electrocardiographs, our hemodynamics, our lung capacity, our pulse oxygenation, and our actigraphy. Our thesis was always, what if we could utilize our cloth nanotechnology to combine these 7 first-line diagnostic tools into an easy-to-use, single-device-enabled platform that offers a digital substitute for in-person consultations. And what if that same platform actually provides the patient's physician a risk-based signature of that patient while they're at home? Because that's the true goal of home healthcare. After 7 years, we finally got on the market and accomplished just that in Q4 of last year, entering the market in the US via a patient physician prescription. The patient will get a gender-neutral or size-adjustable shoulder sash. They download the SimpleSense mobile app directly to their own smartphone. They wear the device for 30 to 40 minutes while the mobile app is recording and kicking that data up to the server. The server provides a summarized score of a routine workup and data trending to the patient's physician in real time. We have a device plus SaaS business model in the enterprise, and we're proudly nearing $1 million in US sales in postoperative care and outpatient cardiology in less than our first year being commercial. We're an extremely operational and capital efficient company, having reached our stage in $15 million of capital raised to date. The market's recognizing our differentiation in nanotechnology and machine learning-based diagnostics, but also our production and manufacturing scale, as well as a robust and very valuable intellectual property portfolio. We couldn't have gotten to this without what I consider the best team in healthcare technology. We're really just getting the right people from the right places. And while we've really proven a sound business model in an initial market, Nanowear's long-term impact can truly be transformative in democratizing healthcare. In ML diagnostics alone, we've got algorithms under validation protocol for at-home detection of hypertension, worsening heart failure, sleep disorders. Think about the value of pharmaceutical research in drug companies understanding the effects on your heart and lungs while that trial participant is at home. Beyond the classics, understanding our men and women on the battlefield, our first responders, our industrial safety workers, and what I've always dreamed about, flattening that access of healthcare to our most vulnerable in the populations. If we can do that, we can unlock a lot of human potential. Thank you very much.
Right on time. Thank you very much. Vinc, now I'm going to open it up to the jury. Any questions for Vinc? Who would like to go first?
I can go first. Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation and very good presentation. For myself to better understand how the product works. So the idea is that the wearable would be worn like throughout the day or just around the doctor appointment. So maybe you can elaborate a bit how this works in practice with the wearable.
Yeah, great question. We don't have a use case where a patient wears this more than 1 hour per recording. That is dependent on the physician's prescriptive judgment. So a class 4 heart failure patient, for example, the physician may want this patient to wear it 1 hour a day or 1 hour a week. A class 2 patient might be once a month. 40 minutes of wear is what triggers the current RPM reimbursement, which runs our economic ROI for the outpatient clinics.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Could you please elaborate on the unit economics? What is the cost of unit and for how much are you making from it?
Yeah, it's a very complicated tech stack. I'm not punting on your question, sir. I can't publicly announce our ASPs with our customers, but I can answer that we are in the low hundreds of dollars for cost of goods sold, and we have north of 80% margins. The business model does depend on the 2 use cases, whether it's an acute use case in post-operative care. This patient will be on the platform no more than 5 to 7 days because they're checking after operation the typical sources of complications, which is internal bleeding or hematomas, respiratory depression, elevated heart rate due to thrombosis. But then on the flip side, for outpatient cardiology, patients with arrhythmia, CAD, heart failure, structural cardiology complications, they have sick hearts for presumably the rest of their life, and they will be more on a longitudinal path with the cardiology clinic. So that ASP is actually a different model, with SaaS being more longitudinal on an annual license basis.
Thank you.
So how big are you in 5 years?
I'm sorry?
How big will you be in 5 years?
We hope that we will be $40 million to $50 million in run rate revenue. We hope to be public by late 2024, early 2025. We expect to be cash flow break even in Q2 2024 due to our margin profile. And really the demand of us replacing 7 tools all at once with a very seamless user experience. The amount of applications are pretty immense, but we want to prove that sort of first market in post-operative care on the acute side and outpatient cardiology on the longitudinal side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, jury, any other questions?
On your competitive side, I see that you name usually like 2 of competitors. One is US-based, the other one is European, if we can say, UK. What's your interest in Europe? Do you plan on expanding in Europe too?
We do eventually, likely through partnerships. I am a novice as a first-time founder in the European market. We are staying focused on the US market. We understand both the clinical ROI and the economic ROI. European market, we would need to sort of strengthen our partnership ability, as markets are very different from Germany to Portugal to France, and don't have a great hold on that yet. But I think via strategic partnerships, which we are planning on getting involved in our Series B round later this year, that will be part of our strategy for global expansion beyond the US market.
Okay, thank you for that question. Jury, have you got any other questions for Vinc? No? Okay, thank you very much, jury. Thank you. And thank you, Vinc. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay, now it's time for our last pitch. This is Bloom Standard, founded in 2019 and coming from the United States. Please welcome on stage Anna-Marie Saarinen from GlucoActive.
Okay, thank you so much. Look at it's already getting ahead of me here. There we go. Breathe. This is Shifa. I met her 6 weeks ago at the largest public hospital in India, which is our partner trial site. Fortunately, our clinical team was there. Even though she was in for the stomach flu, we were able to scan her with the world's first self-driving ultrasound prototype. We found out she was in heart failure. Within a week, a life-saving surgery was scheduled. She's not alone. 2% of babies around the world are diagnosed with congenital heart defects, and an additional 150 million are impacted by lung and respiratory conditions, together accounting for 28% of all infant mortality. Yet 95% of children do not have access. It is commonly used, ultrasound is, in the highest level medical facilities, but virtually non-existent in primary care and in pediatrics. It's too expensive, it's immobile, literally about the size of this thing over here, and too technical for widespread adoption. So, we have gathered teams around us to figure out how multiple clinics can work together to advance ultrasound. And there are 3 key reasons that these partner hospitals, a dozen of them around the world, are partnering with us to do it. Number 1, we eliminate the 3-month wait and the many miles journey to get to care. Number 2, anyone, anywhere can use it. Don't need a doctor or highly trained clinician. And number 3, it gathers relevant, actionable data within just minutes. Most importantly, does all of this at a fraction of the cost of existing technologies. Let me show you how it works. You can simply place the device on the child's chest and press start. Algorithms are going to tell the difference between a normal presentation of the heart or the lungs and an abnormal presentation. That'll flag a problem and guide next steps. And we're using the newest sensor technology to scale up production quickly, streamline to manufacturing, and do all of that at a lower cost to impact frontline and humanitarian care settings first. We're starting where we have relationships and the most traction. It'd be a joint impact from APAC to Europe. These are ministries of health and large purchasers in global health that have been asking for our technology. 3 minutes.
It's up.
Oh my goodness.
Fast.
They told me I could have an extra 10 seconds. This is actually the most important part.
Go on. An extra 10 seconds.
This is my daughter, Eve. It's very personal for me. I'd feel terrible if I didn't get to share that picture of her. She was operated on, her heart stopped for 8 hours and restarted again by an amazing surgeon. So we get the chance to watch her grow up. Everyone should, Shifa will, and I ask you for your help in making sure every child has that opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna Maria. Okay, jury, do you have some questions for Anna Maria? Who would like to go first?
I'll start then. Thank you, Anna Maria, for showing. It's a very sort of amazing personal story, and great that you've turned that sort of a hardship or challenge into something that you're now building and providing to hopefully many others in the future. I embarrassingly missed the name of the company. So the first simple question is, what is the name of the company? And secondly, can you tell us a bit about sort of more the business model side? So I've got a lot of the vision of the company and what you're trying to achieve, but how will this make money? How big is the market? What's the business model? That sort of side of things.
So, name of the company and the business model.
Okay. The name of our company is Bloom Standard, and we're set up as a US Delaware C Corp. We have a company in UK and also a Hong Kong limited company. We're about 5 years old now, and built Bloom Standard under the name it is today about 3 years ago. The business model is truly built on bulk procurement and tenders for government health purchasing, and then we'll enter into European and higher resource settings in North America using distribution channels that are already set up to work with larger health systems and even payers to get the device deployed into primary care in those settings. But we're trying to go where the pain and the need is felt the most acutely right now, which is in resource-challenged and remote settings.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jury, any more questions for Anna Maria?
This is Anita Barbata here. I have one more question. In terms of data that you actually gather, are you actually gathering data? Is it a hardware-software integration layer, or is it primarily just providing the hardware, but another integration of AI or algorithms or prediction that can go into? And if so, how are you protecting that data, particularly when it comes to the ownership of it? And also, how can that be related back to the provider systems and the integration aspect of it?
There's a little bit to unpack there, but we are developing, it's a hardware and a software technology. We're developing our own hardware. That's really the place where there's been the least amount of movement. We've known for quite a while now that ultrasound imaging provides a really good place to develop machine learning algorithms. I think we heard from Cassie today what a ripe ground that is. If you provide good information into the system, you can really let the ML start differentiating between something that's a cat and not a cat. In our case, something that's an abnormal heart presentation or lung presentation and not. So on the AI side, there's been some really nice stuff already built. Some of it's open source, some of it's not. We have proprietary algorithms which we're building based on the pediatric needs specifically in cardiac and lung applications. And then for the hardware, that is its own thing, right? Like our device is, I'm holding my daughter's 3D printed heart from when she had heart surgery in my hand for good luck and to keep me calm. But this device is, literally compared to a device this size, what can be placed as a patch on the child's chest. And putting that sort of self-driving sensor and allowing it to do the heavy lifting compared to what a traditional piezoelectric crystal does is where we're doing the best and the most data collection and clinical trial work right now. And that data, of course, is in R&D phase. So when we deploy into global health settings, we will have the ability to capture data, to build the image library in the cloud, and share that with both global health and research teams to optimize the algorithms moving forward. I hope that kind of answered your question.
Thank you.
Jury, yes, it did. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've got about 30 seconds, jury, if you've got any more questions for Anna Maria. No, I think you're all good. Okay, thank you, jury, very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Anna Maria.
Yes, thank you.
And that's the end of the health and biotech session. Thank you so much to all the startups who participated and for their presentations. They were really inspiring. And thank you also to the jury who joined us. We'll see you in a while for the next one. Thank you very much.